Hello friends, you're with the Lonesome Gamer and I'm playing Waste Nights. And I'm pretty sure this is going to be the last video of the series. It was a long series. Definitely longer than I expected. And Geoffrey Goldrush has pretty much everything under control. The target person, the Bloody Mary, I think was her name, is sitting next to him in his off-road vehicle. And he only has to move here to Gangray to win the game. And I think he has to explore it. Is that so? Let's check the mission once again. So he cannot make escape checks or pass them automatically. If he is defeated or loses consciousness, he must choose and discard one gear card he owns. Then the waster places the Bloody Mary villain marker on the board as described above. Mission end. The mission ends at the end of the round when the knight with the Bloody Mary villain marker is on the Gangray hex. Okay. So that's the situation. Point-wise, the yellow guy, which is Guy Piercing, is still in the lead. Although I think the moment the trader managed to pick up the Bloody Mary, he gains an additional point. But he's in a very bad condition after a fight with Hugh Jackal. He was killed or unconscious, is now back here in New Sydney, and his options are really limited. The other guys are in a better condition. They could try to attack the trader. They could try to kill him. Does it help them? Well, a little bit. It might save them. It might give them a little more time. For the red player, it seems like all is lost. But you know, the blue player, Hugh Jackal, he still might be in a reasonable distance to the leader, 3 points. So there is possibly a chance for him to win. We're gonna see. Now, the turn marker goes now to 10. The speed record mission goes away. So does the reconnaissance mission. So we're gonna see a few more missions showing up. Okay, so we start this turn now with Guy Piercing. He can plan a route. He's the first player. And he's in big trouble, you know. He's got no ammo, 2 life points, 1 radiation, only 1 fuel. I think he stays in New Sydney. I don't see another possibility. There he at least could, when discarding a card, fully heal. And just in case we see another turn, he might then be able to come back somehow. But I don't see an option right now. So he will not move. It's a little different with Hugh Jackal. Now he's here. That doesn't allow him to attack the trader, and because you have to enter the space, so if you start in the same space, I'm pretty sure you cannot attack the other character. So therefore, what can he do? Well, we have a few interesting missions here. The pit fight. Which one of you wimps is brave enough to take up this challenge? I have a brand new meat chopper here, the famous sidebeam of the Cerberus finest, but not so fast. First I want to see blood. This task will be accomplished by the first knight to defeat any other knight in a duel. Well, I see bad times coming up for Guy Pearson here. That would give him the chainsword and 3 fame. That's pretty awesome. We have here the engineer, which also would give him 3 fame, but that would take a while. He's got to go to... I can read that text for you. Recently, the area around Kosciuszko's, which is here, Redoubt, has been plagued by hordes of strange beasts. Our scientists wish to conduct some field tests. Handle this for us and you can keep this as your reward. This is a tin cutter gear card. The reward, and he would have to explore Kosciuszko's Redoubt, does a medicine test there, and then defeat any enemy from Wasteland cards. That would also give him 3 fame, so that's also a pretty cool card, but on the other hand it takes at least 2 turns to do this. So therefore I'm pretty sure he's going to try to hunt down the judge, which is now basically only a shadow of his former impressive appearance, with his junk protector and a fire axe in his hand. He's going to be now the target of his attack. So, let me see, we got here 2 movement points. And he pays his last fuel to get there. And the waster is allowed to draw a single card. Rough terrain. The waster is Geoffrey Goldrush in this case. Well, he has to play that card. Ignore this card when moving on foot. Stop immediately, you lose 1 fuel and your car suffers 1 damage. So, by the way, we haven't seen the damage thing. If the car is at 2 damage, so if it takes a 2nd damage, then it's destroyed and you simply have to discard it. And if you take damage, you simply flip the card, place a damage marker on it, and you can see now that the carrying limit of the vehicle is definitely reduced, and so are the movement points. So that's a pretty bad thing. So yeah, he's got to get off there. He uses the... he made a bad choice here. Should have gone through this area with the... There you could have used this Geiger counter, but okay, it's too late now. So he does a repair check. He only has a single die roll for that, so that kind of sucks. He needs a 5, and he has that easily. So, a success here. He moves into New Sydney, and now he tries to find Guy Pearson. Rolls Well, wait a second, it's a survival check, so he rolls 4 dice. It's a 7. He found him. So we will actually see a duel here. Okay, so before this starts, Guy Piercing plays Deadly Quick. And it says set the range of the first clash. Place the range marker on any range card. So we'll go into short range right away with my fire axe. And that's kind of a problem now for Hugh Jackal with his bow. He cannot use that bow in short range. But he can use the mini bomber before combat. So Guy will actually lose... It will actually take another damage, another wound, which is pretty painful. Well, yeah, okay. And then we can start the combat itself. And obviously, Hugh Jackal wants to change the range, while that's interesting actually, because you know Guy Piercing can be sure that Hugh Jackal wants to change the range. So what he could do is he can simply follow him, and that is a pretty weird situation now. Because it means that wow, that's interesting. Your opponent's attack checks suffer -1. I wonder who has to choose first what to do here. You know, if I say now retreat, the other guy would gain a dominance point. And if he chooses advance, he'd also gain a dominance point, and the range stays the same. Basically, we can go on for this, and we can go on like this for a while. And yeah, that cannot be a real solution. I wonder if there's anything I can do about that. And honestly, I doubt it. That's interesting. Okay, so here's the thing now. Actually, if both knights play the card change range, the active knight has to decide first if he wants to advance or if he wants to retreat. Now the active knight in this case is Hugh Jackal, and this is really tricky now. If he retreats, there is a danger that he will lose the combat, and it's very likely that he will lose the combats then because of the dominance rules. If he advances, the other guy can also advance, the situation stays even, and they stay in short range. So then, it's very likely that simply nothing happens, and we might see this. This is weird. This is going to be probably the same thing that happens in the next clash phase then. This is really strange. On the other hand, I'm not sure if it's possible for him to advance at all, if you are already that close. Okay, now this is actually a tricky situation because they are already in close range. So he's not allowed to advance, he has to retreat. The first knight in this case has to retreat. And because it was obvious that he had to do this, otherwise he could not use his bow, Guy Piercing can simply advance, and that brings him here into this into dominance, and that is something that's going on. So there is, it's pretty sure that, yeah, that's basically what's going to happen. That's going to happen all through the combat, because you know, it doesn't make any sense for him to stand firm and risk an attack with the fire axe. So therefore, there is nothing to win for him if he does so. So therefore, the combat will end here, and well, we would see this thing 3 times in a row, and Guy Piercing wins this thing because of his dominance. It was the card Deadly Quick that saved him here. And here's the problem now, and that really sucks now for Hugh Jekyll. He has lost the combat, and therefore Guy will gain a point. He's at 14, and Hugh Jekyll can actually, Guy can also steal from him now. The only question is, does he want the military bow with the mini bomber attached? That's definitely a cool weapon. Or does he take the vest? The good thing about the bow is that it doesn't require any ammo. Then again, at the end of that turn, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to reload completely at New Sydney during the exploration phase, so I have lots of ammo. Anyway, and I got some good weapons, so I'm actually gonna take the vest. I love the vest, and by the way, at the vest there is also this X1 camouflage thing attached to. So that is now a really painful loss. What a bad idea. Well, it might not have been such a bad idea of Hugh Jekyll, but it turned out to be a very unlucky situation for him, all just because of this one card. In addition, and that's the funny thing now, well, the guy didn't see exactly blood, but Guy managed to defeat this sucker in a duel. So that means this card goes out of the game. That means, as a reward, Guy Piercing gains the chainsword, which is completely crazy. It's similar to the chainsaw, maybe even better, and it doesn't require fuel. So that is just awesome. Chainsaw deals 3 damage for each 10 rolled. Does 2 additional damage. What a weapon. I'm going to take this right away in my hand. So I'm a real fighting machine now. And I gain 3 new points plus 1 because of my special ability. So I'm now at 18. But that might not help me in the end, you know, because if this guy now brings the lady home, I will lose that anyway. And we need a new task. So the next common task is, are you the postman? The president of New Sydney decided to find his relatives, but he doesn't want to dust his boots doing it personally. So now he's looking for some dimwit to travel the continent in his stead. You look perfect. This task will be accomplished by the first knight to move through 4 different city axes and explore the last of them. Knights place the player markers on city axes whenever they enter them. 3 fame points, 1 yellow card. Okay. So, it's now the samurai, and he is not in a condition to do anything exciting now. He is far, far behind at 6 points. He only has, I don't know, I mean, he could try maybe to maybe there is a way for him to explore these cities. He got all night on the road, but only 1 fuel. But still, he might be able to travel 7 spaces. Now let's see, that would be the first one. Doesn't cost him anything. That's then 2, and it's also the second city. Four, 5, 6, 7. That's gonna work out. That's gonna be okay, actually. He can try to do this. That would give him at least a few more fame, and maybe there is a way he can also get to 10. Although it's unlikely, but he can try. So let's find out. This is the first city, 0. And here, they all cost nothing. These are actually now the first 2 movement points here. Then he can move, yeah, here's the thing, this way, that way. These are 2 more movement points, which kind of sucks, but okay. So he's at 4 now. Then he moves this way. No, wait a second, he doesn't. He explores Gangrene, which is the 3rd city then for him to explore. And that is movement point number 5. And then he moves down here, 6, and 7. He cannot move through this space, because that would cost him 2. But if he enters that, if he goes like this, it costs him only 1. So he spends his last fuel and throws in all night on the road. And, well, what I could do is, I could now play Not This Time, Old Chap. The card would be cancelled, and there's nothing for him left to do. But I think I'm going to hold on to this card for the last, or probably last move of Joffrey. Maybe I can stop him with this card somehow. So, let's see. The ninja moves on, and we see the first card here. Cerberus Finest. Well, this is a massive guy, but there are still some dangers to draw, so there is no need to necessarily take that. Next card. Hungry Locusts. He's also good in survival, so he moves down here and here. Wait a minute, no, that's not true. He moves here actually first. So that's another card. Okay, here we got the Hell Raiders, and I also don't like to play them. Here, here, and he ends up here. Another card. And now we actually, this is now the last card. So if we want to stop him, we got to play something. And this is actually cool. This is the cattle drive. Stop immediately. You lose 1 fuel and skip the exploration step this round. That kind of sucks, And well, on the other hand, it's a talk test. He's got 4 dice to do that, and he's got his chili suit. So there is. No, wait a minute. The chili suit doesn't work against events, only against enemies. So I guess I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna play that cattle drive. Maybe that will stop him. So he can roll 4 dice, and to be successful, he needs. Yeah, to be successful, he needs a 9 or a 10. Well, honestly, I'm not sure. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play Kangaroo's Paw. Discard at any time to draw 3 luck cards. Until the end of this turn, your luck hand is unlimited. So, maybe there could be a better time to do this during an important battle or whatever. But on the other hand, it's probably the last turn, so why hold on to this? So this is going to be the first luck card, and we can draw 2 more, but we gotta reshuffle the deck. Okay, so a piece of cake or a focus card would be useful here. That's not the one we want. And the second one is, that's my hood. Would have needed that before. Okay, anyway, so we got to do this test now and need a 9 or 10. And we have that. Twice, actually. Pretty cool. So we managed to pass by the cattle drive, and we can now move on here to gangrene, and then down here to New Sydney. And when we explore that area, we will gain this card as a reward, and that's not too bad. Okay. And now it's him, Joffrey Goldrush. And if nothing really, well, I mean, there could be always a card like this, right? The cattle drive or something like that, where he then does a bad roll and he has to stop. But basically, a monster at least is not impressive for him. He's at full strength. He has the combat armor. And he has the adrenal, which allows him to discard it if you are KO'd, and then heal 3 immediately and continue playing. So, he's in a real good shape. The only thing that could become a problem for him is his limited fuel. So if he gets stuck here somewhere in the desert, well, maybe that will be a problem. So he's going to travel now 3 spaces. Where to go? Think it doesn't really matter. He could move through here. And then, well, he doesn't want to end up here because he would take a lot of radiation damage that way. So I think, oops, I'm going to move, I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm going to move here. No, wait a second, I can't do that. That's tricky. I cannot move through this space because I only got For a fuel, I can only drive 3 spaces, so I have to drive this way if I want to get to Gangria. Okay. Well, let's find out what happens. This is going to be now the card. And remember, I forgot that we cannot do any escape tests. Yeah, that's interesting. So if it's a bad card, we're screwed. We cannot do escape tests, and we cannot pass them automatically. So the piece of cake doesn't help us here. So if we find now an event which stops him, he actually has to stop. Let's see. Okay, now that is the shallow B. That's kind of a nasty enemy, but in the end, this is not going to be enough to kill him. We're going to do the fight. A cattle drive would have done it. That would have done it. But the shallow B is not enough to kill him. On the other hand, the funny thing is, it's not that simple. Because the waster, which is right now Hugh Jekyll, he can use his luck cards during this fight, because it's this last mission. And he's got, for example, the sweet spot, which is a really bad card. And he's got Focus Man, so he might be able to do a lot of damage actually. But still, I think simply because of the adrenaline, it's not going to be enough. Okay. So, let's see what we do. I think I don't have to do a lot actually. The waster is going to change range. Now that's actually a funny thing now. I could simply run away, I guess. I'm not sure about that. Okay, so here's the thing. I must actually win the battle. If I lose the battle, even if I now always would change range, for example, if I lose the battle, I lose the Bloody Mary. So that is a problem. Is there anything I can do? Well, I could play Deadly Quick, and that might give me an advantage, because I could start at long range. So yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to play Deadly Quick here. And now one of these guys plays Not This Time, Old Chap, simply to stop me here. So the card is cancelled. Kind of sucks, but okay. And let's see. So, before combat, let me see. What am I going to do? I'm going to play an attack card, because I can't expect this guy to change range, but I cannot move back or something. So I'm going to use my multi-attack ability, because I don't want to lose this battle because of dominance. Okay, so that means the dominance goes up 1 space into my favor, and I'm gonna play now Die Already before the attack check. And again, this guy is gonna play Not This Time, Old Chap, and cancel also this card. That's, of course, pretty painful now. Okay. Then he's going to play the Sweet Spot before an attack check. But I'm going to play Hard as a Rock before the opponent's attack check. So he ignores now. Oh, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense at all. I see. Because that ignores the shields, and that gives me 2 additional shields. So that would be a stupid idea to play that right now. Okay, I'm afraid I got to go through this. So I'm going to use my multi-attack ability. I'm going to spend 2 ammo. I might end up in trouble here. I don't hope so. Okay, so what happens? Well, I can roll 4 dice. Because I gain 2 additional ones here, and well, let's hope that we can do some damage. But it's going to be extremely hard to do damage here. This thing has a shield of 2. It's pretty unlikely that we can do damage actually. Well, at least we got a 10. So it's not bad. We did. So we did an attack here, and we did a hit. That's 2 hits because of the 10, and another hit because of this additional damage marker here. So therefore it's 1 wound. And this can be a valuable wound, because it gives me an additional dominance. Okay, now it's the next turn. And of course, the player didn't play the sweet spot simply because there was no attack check. It doesn't make any sense at all. Now we come. That's the question. Do we see now an attack or a preparation action? I think an attack makes actually more sense here. Because a preparation action might allow us to do a defense action during the next turn, and it's so hard to tell. Okay, I'm not absolutely sure what to do here. I think on a 1 to 7, I'm going to do an attack, otherwise a preparation action. Okay, it's a preparation action. This could be powerful, but I'm not sure. So we see, prepare, and then I can do. We're now in close range and short range, and that's important. But still I can do an attack because I got that bayonet here on the Kalash. Now I can do melee damage, and I'm pretty sure that the Kalash actually still does an additional damage. It's not written anywhere that this is only limited to this type of damage. So yeah, I'm gonna do another attack. I cannot do a multi-attack right now because this weapon doesn't work in well, you know what? That's okay. Okay, I'm gonna do a standard attack here. Okay. And yeah, that means I can roll now 2 dice, which isn't that great. But yeah, that's all I got. Let's hope for a success here. I only need a 5 to do a success because of the short distance, and it does an additional damage. So we'll see. Oh fuck. I didn't make it. That sucks. And I cannot reroll. There's nothing I can do about that. That was a bad one. Yeah, I'm not a fighter at all. I'm a trader. So, yeah, that sucked. But at least the attack... Yeah, the attack action gives me another dominance point. And now it's gonna be the last and maybe... Pretty sure, actually, the critical fight round of the game. Okay, so there's a lot to consider right now. First of all, this guy is prepared. So he has 2 additional combat rolls, combat dice. 9s also count as hits. So what I'm going to play is, I'm going to play hard as a rock. But he plays the sweet spot, which means you can ignore this, and that is horrible for me, because that means I will take the full hit if it is a wound, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a wound. Now I can play faster, faster, which allows me to reduce his number of attack dice by 2. So he's still at 4. Wow. He does 2 additional damage plus 1 additional damage because of this melee thing. So basically, oh man, that's horrible. That means oh, that's interesting. That means that he will do definitely 4 points. Is that so? I'm pretty sure it is. If he does a hit, if he hits, and it's very likely that he will do 4 points damage. Okay, anyway. I gotta do an attack. It's the only chance I have if I don't want to lose. Shit, it's not going to work out. It's not. It's not going to be good enough. Damn it. Well, maybe it is. It's going to be damn close. So I'm going to do an attack here. And he also is going to do an attack. So he now has, let's see. We're talking, well, the base value is 6 dice. But we can reduce this by 2. Because of the faster. So he's down at 2 dice, at 4 dice again. Okay. So it's now, if he rolls a 10 or so, I'm absolutely lost. So let's see what happens. We were lucky. We were so lucky because there is no 9 and no 10 in this roll. Twice an 8, twice a 2. Excuse me. So that means he does a lot of damage. Actually, he does now 1 damage for the attack success, 2 damage because of this, and an additional damage. So this is 4 damage. He ignores the opponent's shield, so I take the full damage. Yeah, bad luck. But here's the thing. I can now play the Adrenal. Discard before being KO'd. You immediately heal 3 and continue playing. Okay. So I can play that. And that might save my ass now, because now here's the thing, he did 4 wounds. So she's now dominant by 1. But now it's my attack. And if I manage to do a hit, but it's pretty likely that I will actually do a wound. It's pretty unlikely that I can do a wound, but it's worth a try. Well, yes, actually I will do 1 wound if I do a hit. Let's see, I need to do a hit here. If I do that hit, the dominance is even, I'm not defended, and I've won the game. So that's the roll now. We need to roll a 5 with 2 dice. If we manage to do this, the game is won. Yes, twice a 6, that's it. The thing is, it's a hit. It's an additional hit because of this token here, so we have 2, and it's another hit because of that. So in the end, the bayonet has saved my ass. Because that's an additional wound now. It brings me up to even, and that means it's a draw. Nobody has died, and there is no dominance in this battle, so no one is defeated, therefore it's a draw. And if I'm not defeated, I don't lose the lady, and I can move on. Because I'm the last player, there's nothing anybody else can do about that. It was a very, very heavy battle now at the end. I managed to survive, not in a heroic way, but maybe in a traitor's way. And yeah, that's the end of the game. After 11 turns, I made it. Okay, let's talk a little about this. It's interesting. I mean, basically, it was extremely close. The whole game was extremely close. If, for example, now he wouldn't have been able to roll the 5, then there would be no chance for anybody to fulfill the last task, and therefore Guy Pearson would have won the game with his 18 points right now. I'm pretty sure there would be no chance for anybody to make, I don't know, 7 points or something. On the other hand, we had situations where maybe even Hugh Jackal was close to a win. You know, he had his 10 points, so with a little bit of luck, he might have been able to pick up the lady and bring her home instead of the traitor. So that was a very, very close game. And we've seen many surprises. At the beginning, Guy Pearson was in front, and we had a long time when the traitor was more or less the last player. Then he did a huge jump. We've also seen a huge jump of Hugh Jackal, the blue player. So yeah, that's definitely cool. This is a very cool aspect of the game here. To enjoy Well, the game is very long. We've seen that. We've played now a 4-player game. We've played nearly 11. We've played 11 turns, and it took me a long time, 8 hours, probably more. I think even longer. So it's a really long game. There are shorter scenarios with only 6 turns. Problem is, if you play these, you cannot really enjoy the game because you have less time to get cool weapons. So you're definitely weaker, especially at the beginning. You're pretty weak in this game. You won't probably see not many of these surprises here on the leaderboard because of the limited time. And also, you know, visiting a spot which doesn't really give you points right away is probably a death sentence in short scenarios, like just going somewhere to heal or to trade or to maybe even to attack another knight or to refuel or something like that. You cannot afford to do this in these short scenarios, which is kind of sad because there are some interesting features on the board. So it probably makes the most sense to play one of the long scenarios. Okay, I found some critics on BGG which say there is no decision making in this game. That's wrong. I think that's completely wrong. I think for an Ameritrash game we have actually a lot of decision making here. Of course, compared to a war game or Euro, yeah, that's true. But hey, what do you expect if you buy this stuff? So there is a lot of decision making. You have to think, which kind of task do I want to do? As a waster, you can choose the task, which is also an interesting decision sometimes, because you always can choose between 2 tasks and see which one is the best for you. Combat is a very, very, very interesting mechanism here. It's a fantastic system, I think. It's full of decision making. It's just amazing, you know. It's a great idea. You can decide if you want to attack other guys, if you want to risk, I don't know, if you want to risk an escape check, for example, or if you want to try to fight the guy and gain the reward and all kinds of things. The game is full of decisions to make. So this is actually something I can absolutely not understand. Another thing I've heard is the long downtime. Well, I cannot exactly judge that because I play that game solo, obviously. But to be honest, I don't think there is a long downtime. Simply because because of this waster mechanism that allows you to play the event cards on the active player, that allows you also to fight for the enemies. So it seems like pretty often there is a lot to do for you, even if you're not the active player. In addition, you might get attacked. There is some kind of interaction between players, and there's also something to do then. So I think there are actually a lot of games where there is more downtime than in this game. I think it's okay. There should not be too much downtime here. That would really be a surprise if that would be the case. Another pro is, I mean, it's obvious, the artwork. This is where the game really shines. The art is fantastic. I've said that a few times, and it's one of the best artworks that I've ever seen in a game. It just blows me completely away. It's awesome. It captures the theme in a fantastic way. I love the theme of this post-apocalyptic world. So theme and artwork and atmosphere, this is something that really works very, very well in this game. And that's important for an Ameritrash game. So yeah, that's definitely another plus here. Now we come to the problems I have with the game. And basically there are 2 points. Both of them might be fixed. One is simply that there is not enough stuff here. But you know, that's a kind of a typical issue for Ameritrash games. We had the same thing in, I don't know, Eldritch Horror, in Runebound, and Talisman, and so on. All these games which rely on kind of a feeling that you explore this massive, endless world. All these games suffer from a limited replayability if you don't have tons of cards. So that means we need expansions. And it's the same thing in this game. We need expansions. We need more items. We need more waste cards. Maybe a few more vehicles. I would love to see allies. We've already seen a few cards which allow you to, or one cards. It was said these were teaser cards for things that they're planning to do in the future. There was this card which would allow you to improve your vehicle. There was a card, this implant, that would be also great, and also mutations, obvious, fantastic ideas. So we might expect something here. There is definitely lots and lots of opportunities, possibilities to improve the replayability of this game and to make the experience even stronger. So the only critic I really have about it is it's not a very climactic experience, and that's actually a flaw of the game. That's a pretty big deal. You know, you're always fighting, you're always facing the same cards. The monsters that you're facing at the start of your game, if you're weak, are the same as the ones that you're facing at the end of the game. They don't adapt to your strength, and that's a problem. In a game like Runebound, that is solved in a fantastic way with these different challenges you can do. So you're fighting stronger and stronger monsters, and it's always interesting for you. There is always a challenge there, you know. At the beginning, the weak monsters, hey, they're strong enough for you. And then you start with these middle-class monsters, and at the end you're fighting the really tough guys, and you still have a challenge. You improved, you're much, much stronger, but you still have a challenge. And that's an important part of the game, of these type of games, you know, that you improve your character, he's getting better, and it's still interesting, you know, it's this thing, great, I got another weapon here, Um, this feeling that your character gets stronger and stronger in time, that is something that I love about these type of games. And that's a feeling that I don't really have here that much. The problem is, many of the characters already start with pretty cool weapons. Spit or machete, that's a very strong combination for an urban samurai. And I'm not sure, you got to find something good to improve that combination. A similar thing here, I mean, for example, he with the Kalash, he didn't change his weapon during the whole game. All he did was he attached the bayonet, and that's it. I mean, as a matter of fact, the trader has won the game without an improved weapon. He still used his starting weapon. And I think that's something that should not be the case in a game of that type. As I said, it's part of it that you find some cool cards, some cool weapons, cool armor, and so on, and that you place that then on you guys so that you improve step by step. And that's not the case here. Okay, I mean, he had the combat weapon or the combat armor, and that's another problem. If you have something like that, if you have, let's say, the combat armor, or maybe even the exoskeleton, which gives you 4 protection, you're pretty much invulnerable. Nobody can do you any harm anymore. I mean, the only reason why he could be hit was actually because of this special card, the Sweet Spot. But normally, other players cannot play any cards on you. So that means, if you have a strong armor, you don't have to care about any monster at all. It simply doesn't matter anymore, and that shouldn't be the case. So maybe this but that is a problem with the combat system again, because you only have 4 life points. So if you don't have a good armor and we have a strong monster and it does a good hit, you're dead immediately. If you have a very good armor, it's gonna be extremely hard to do any damage at all. So this is a balancing issue. It's very, very difficult here, I think, for the designer to find the right balance between completely useless monsters and monsters that kill you right away. And that's exactly the point why it would be a better idea to let the monsters adapt, or to have stronger monsters for coming into play at a later stage of the game. Because then you could imagine, okay, now probably the knights have some good armor, and now we can bring stronger monsters into play, because now after a hit they won't be dead right away. That's the case if you have a crappy armor, you're dead right away. If this thing hits you, with 2 additional damage, and you have this crappy junk protector, okay, that's it. I mean, it's 1 hit, and that's it. You lose 4 health points, goodbye. And but then again, with this thing, it looks different. in addition to this, well, I compared that to Runebound, where these monsters adapt because the challenges get stronger and stronger. But there is another way to do it, actually, and we see that in Talisman, where you also draw a card, and it's you might face a dragon as a very weak character, and yeah, suck right away, or you might face, I don't know, a rat or whatever as a very strong character and just smash it. So still it feels climactic, and the reason for me is that there is this inner region in Runebound where you have to face some real challenges. There is often then at the end a very strong enemy, and there are also in between sometimes on the expansions some special enemies, and you also have to fulfill a certain requirement to enter the next regions and so on. So there is a climax in Talisman, which we don't really have here. I mean, okay, there is also a little climax here because the very last enemy, or at least at some missions, we have a strong last enemy. So that's going to be a little more interesting then. But that's not enough for me. You know, it's just the final mission here. So what I could expect, and I think that could be a really cool way to improve the game a lot, is something similar like Talisman. If they came up with an additional board, which could, for example, we could say, okay, we have a smaller part here, a smaller board with, I don't know, 6 or 7 of these, 6 or 7 spaces. It don't have to be hexes, simply 6 or 7 spaces or something, that you kind of have to move through, like in Talisman, where you have, I don't know, we could imagine we have there much more stronger radiation, biohazard threats, and we have maybe also a special deck for enemies, and also some special events there on the spaces themselves. They did a similar thing in Relic, by the way, which is another version of Talisman in the Warhammer 40k universe. They did a similar thing there. So basically, this is, I think that could be an interesting way to make this game much more interesting. If at the end of the game, if we get an expansion, let's say, which focuses completely on this final stage of the game, which comes with a small board and a small additional board with some spaces and some extra new enemies and maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 boss enemies or final scenarios, which are a little more interesting than what we got here. That would be awesome. That's necessary. In addition, I want, let's say, 2 card expansions for more of these cards, the waste cards, and more items, and that's it. You know, give me more stuff of what we already have and give me a real climax. And then this game is one of my favorite Ameritrash games. It has a great potential. It's really cool. It's already fun to play, but if they don't come up with expansions, I'm afraid the replayability of this might not be that amazing. So let's hope it's going to be a success, and yeah, Hope you enjoyed it, and hope to see you on my next video or on lonesomegamer.com.